What's up, guys? In today's video, I'll be showing you how to create a timer tool, which will be following the Pomodoro technique. You can start the timer for 25 minutes, you can stop it, and you can reset it. So we shall be using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now we are going to head over to our folder. We're going to create a new folder, and we're going to name it Pomodoro Timer. So after creating our folder, we are going to open our Visual Studio Code. After opening our VS Code, we shall go to File, we go to Open Folder, navigate to Tutorials, and then here we have our folder, Pomodoro Timer, open it. So once we have opened our folder, inside it we are going to create a new file and we shall call it index.html. We shall create the second file and we shall call it styles.css, and then our last file and we call it script.js. Obviously, we are going to start working on with the index.html. So press Shift exclamation mark to create HTML structure, and then change the title to Pomodoro Timer Tool. Let me increase the size a bit. I hope that is visible. So besides that, we are going to link our CSS, which is styles.css. And then right below here, we shall also link our script, which is script.js. Now within the body, we are going to create a div and we give it a class of timer container. Now within the timer container, we shall create a heading and let's call it the Pomodoro timer. Right below the heading, we shall create a timer. Let's create a div and let's give it a ID, timer display. And then our timer is going to run for 25 minutes. Since we are following the Pomodoro technique, usually you work for 25 minutes and then have a break. And then we shall also create a button. Our button shall have an ID of start btn, which is basically to start the timer. So we shall put here the word start. And then we are going to create the button for stop and reset. So I'm just going to copy and paste that and then change this start to stop. And then I change this to reset btn. And then also I'll change the text as well. Reset and stop. Now let's open this with our live server. So this is what we have for our live server. Now let's write some CSS. Let's go to the CSS file. From the CSS, we are going to start styling our body. We give it font family, Arial, sans serif. So let's remove the Helvetica there. Then we are going to give it a display of flex. We're going to justify content center. We are going to align item center. This is to put everything in the middle. And then we give it height of 100 vertical height, 100 VH. And then lastly, we give it a background color, which is F3, F4, F6. You can see that is what that style has done. Now next is, let us style the timer container. So the class is timer container. If you're not sure, please be sure you copy and paste. We're going to give text align center. We are also going to give it a background of white. Background white is F. And then we are going to give it a padding of 40 pixels. And we are going to give it a box shadow, 0, 40 pixels, 8 pixels. RGBA, let's give it 0, 0, 0, 0.1. So go back to it. You see that is how our box is gonna show. This is supposed to be 4 pixels. So that's how our box shows. Now next thing is, let us style the timer display. The timer display is, let's see, it's an ID. Yes, it's an ID. So timer display, let's just copy that. And ID start with hash and then followed by the ID name. So I'm gonna give it a font size of 48 pixels and I'm gonna give it a margin bottom 20 pixels. That is what we have. So next we are going to style our buttons. So the button is a tag, so I'm gonna just put it there as button. Let's give it a padding 10 pixels, 20 pixels. font size of 16 pixels, margin 5 pixels, cursor pointer, background color, let's give it a background color, FF6 347. You can choose any background color you want that suits your choice. And then we are going to give it color white, that is the text color, which is F. And then border radius 5 pixels, 5 pixels. So this is our style for the button. When we go back, you can see that is what the button is. So let's remove this border. We shall just go over here and say border none. And I hope it's gone. Perfect. Now let's style button hover. So for the button hover, we shall just say button hover, background color, E5, E5, E55, 337. It's basically just a lighter version of our actual color. So you can see that. That's our simple hover. So now let's make this thing to work. We are going to head over to our script.js and we're going to create a variable. Let's call it const display. We say const display and then we say document.getElement by ID. And here we are going to call our ID, which is the first one. We're going to get it here from the HTML, which is timer display. So I'm going to copy that. You don't want to make spelling errors here. Timer display. And then we're going to do the same for our buttons. We shall, when you head over to, we have start btn, stop btn, and reset btn. So what we are going to do to keep time, we are going to do variables for all this. So I'm just going to copy that, paste, and then here I'm going to create the variable which is start btn. Sorry, let's put it in small letters, btn, and then also here I'm going to change it to our ID, which is start btn. So I'm going to do the same for the stop and then reset btn. Enter. So this one I'll just change it to stop, and then here also change it to stop btn. And then lastly, this one we shall change it to reset, and then here is reset btn. So that we shall say let timer be null, and then let time equal to 25 times 60 seconds. This basically means 25 minutes. Now after this, we are going to create a function. Let's say const update time display. This is an arrow function. So inside this function, we are going to say let minutes equal to math.flow, and then we say time for 60. And then let's say let seconds equals to time. So this is a modular operator used to find the remainder after dividing. So 60, and then we shall set display dot text content is equal to, use this backslash $minutes dot, let's convert it to string. This is a method which is pad start. We say 2, 0 in braces, put colon there, dollar again. This was for minutes, so let's do for seconds as well. Dot convert to string, then dot pad start 2, 0. Put a semicolon there. So the next thing is we are going to start the timer. So we shall create another function to start the timer. So let's say const start timer. Also we shall use arrow function. So we shall say if not timer equal to, we set a time interval. It's a function, set interval function. Then we set time minus that, which will subtract. And then we shall update time display function, which is right here. And if time equal to 0, we shall set timer equal to none. Then we send an alert. Then here by 1000. So this is the interval. And then next we are going to write a function to stop the timer. Now let's create a function stop the timer. We shall just say const stop timer. We just say clear interval, which is timer. And then timer is equal to null. And then function to reset the timer, reset timer. We say const reset time. We shall just say stop timer. Then we reset it back to 25 minutes. So we shall say time will equal to 25 times 60, which is the 25 minutes. And then we shall update the time display function. That is it. And then lastly, let's do our function call down here. So we shall say start btn dot add event listener. If it is clicked, so the event listener is if it is clicked, we are going to do what? Get the function to start timer. And then for stop btn, we are also going to add event listener, which is on click, we have to stop the timer. Get that function, stop timer. And then lastly, for reset btn dot add event listener, click it again. All our event listeners are click, and then here we shall reset the timer. So now we get our main function, which is update time display. And then right below here, we shall say window.onload, we update time display. Now let's go back and refresh. Click on start timer. You can see our timer has started. When I click on stop timer, our timer has stopped. When I click on reset, it goes back to 25 minutes. Thank you for watching. This is a simple beginner-friendly project that you can play around with to improve on your JavaScript knowledge. See you in the next video.